Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. My furry crew is all here in all of their furry, sheddy glory this morning. I'm Mikki. If you've not practiced with me before, this gray feline is Musketeer, and this white, fluffy goodness that's showing you her better side right now is Shanti. And I'm just happy to share this practice with you this morning. Man, it's been, I think, a little over a month since I've been able to do this yoga and coffee live stream with you all. So I'm happy to be back with you. Um, this is just our kind of feel good, mellow, settle into our bodies, settle into our breath. Bye, Shanti. She realizes it's not about her. She's out. Um, Saturday morning practice, just this time to sort of check in and reset from the week. And also, I know that, we're all kind of trying to soak up those last few weeks of, I hate to say that, those last few weeks of summer and sunshine. So, also a little bit of a prep for your body in terms of whatever activities you might be doing today, whether that's gardening or some hiking or just kind of chores around the house. Get into all those spots that need to be gotten into. This is obviously your time and your space. So just take what you need today, leave what you don't. And give yourself a dose. We've got a lot going on right now. All of us, whatever we're dealing with. And give yourself a dose this morning of something that just really feels authentic and good in your body, because even though you might not feel 100% good in life right now, or mentally or energetically, when we do something good for ourselves, that makes everything else easier to sit with, process, and handle. All right. So, with that, we are getting started in a comfortable seat. If anything goes wrong during the live stream, just let me know in the chat so I can fix it. But we're going to start in that comfortable crisscross seat. And we're going to start with a little bit of movement before we settle into stillness. So I want you to take your hands behind you and turn your fingers maybe out so they point toward the wall behind you, or a slight angle back that direction. We're going to bend your elbows and just sort of get like nice and slouchy there. And then straighten your arms, let your heart lift, let those shoulders move back. And you can look anywhere that feels nice for the neck and head. Let's just do that a couple times. So getting nice and slouchy. We're all really good at this. And then a little bit of a heart puff. It's my scientific term for this movement. And then maybe one more time. Get slouchy and lift. And then let's walk those hands in a little bit closer to the backside. Try to keep the heart lifted, the head high. Let's take your arms, reach them wide and up. Let's linger there for a moment. Maybe close the eyes. And I like to imagine that I'm holding on to something up there, like a pull-up bar or the monkey bars. And as those hands reach up and hold on to something imaginary, I want you just to imagine those hips getting heavier down into the solidness of the ground beneath you, whatever surface you're sitting on. Just feel all hesitation, all holding start to sort of melt, and let the two sit bones, the whole pelvis, the structure of your hips settle in. And then let's turn those arms so the palms face any amount toward that wall behind you. And then super, super slow, we're just going to float your arms down so that the back of the hands lands on your knees. Eyes closed or gaze dropped. As the back of those hands settles on the knees or the thighs, encourage your shoulders to move back in space. So that little tiniest bit of that heart puff here. And then perhaps imagine that you're trying to balance your cup of coffee on top of your head, so that you feel really long through all four sides of your neck. And let's begin to breathe in through the nose if you can. And out through the nose. And then just repeat that. Breathe in. Breathe out. encouraging each round of breath as we settle here into this rhythm to move into you a little bit more deeply. To become a little less constrained or restricted. And as you really start to connect with and feel the solidness of what's holding you, the support of the ground, the earth beneath you, the release into that, can you let that inspire and allow enough fluidity and ease in your body that the breath is able to move in places and in ways that maybe it hasn't yet today or maybe all week, depending on what you had going on? Feel that breath moving up and down your spine. Feel that breath moving across your heart, across your back, side to side. And in each shape that we take this morning, instead of prioritizing the shape and the pose, let's prioritize the breath. Let this be a practice of breathing that has some poses and shapes sprinkled into it. But this right here, this is the practice. Start to take your hands out to the side, up to the sky as you breathe in. Let the palms join together overhead and exhale, hands down into your heart. How about 2 more times there? As you reach out and up with your inhale, let those hips get heavy. And then as you exhale, hands downward, can your heart and your head lift upwards? There's this duality of energy movement within every breath and every movement here. As you reach up, feel the hips, the spine root down. As you bring those hands down, let the crown of the head and the heart lift up. And as those hands settle at your heart this time, we're going to tip back, recross your legs. Morning, Lori. Settling back into that seat, but with your other leg in front. And then we're just going to take your hands back down to your lap. As you settle there, let's kind of reset your posture, get those hips nice and heavy. Feel that lift through the crown. And then let your right ear fall towards your right shoulder. And let's take your left arm and reach it over toward that left baseboard or whatever's over on the left side of your space. Now you have a couple levers here to explore. This is also prime cat petting pose. You have a couple levers here to explore the release in your neck. So you can play with rotation of your head. You can also play with that height of your left arm. We're just going to spend a couple breaths on each side, encouraging release through the neck for those of you that are breastfeeding, for those of you that are working at a desk, spent any time on a phone. And then let that left hand come back to your lap. Let your head float up, and we'll do that other side. Left ear, left shoulder, right hand reaching over toward the right side of your space. Whew. You might find that your two sides feel very different. This is my stress side. Again, you can play with the rotation of the head. You can play with the lift and lower of the arm. I swear Musketeer gets attention. About 2 more full breaths here. And then hand back to your lap. Head back up on top of your spine. Just feel the two sides of your neck. I sort of feel like a bobblehead after that sometimes. And then let's come over onto hands and knees into your table pose. We'll set up with your wrists right below your shoulders, your knees right below your hips. True four-legged table. And then let's start to move through some cat-cow. Inhale, belly drops, head and heart lifts. Exhale, root down into hands and shins. Round your spine, let your head fall forward. We'll go a few times there with that movement through the spine. So inhale, it's cow pose, right? Your udder drops toward the ground. Exhale, spine rounds. Feeling what is holding you here. And I'm going to encourage you throughout your practice today, which is built to be a bit of a grounding practice, to pay attention, in addition to your breath, to what is touching the ground, how you're interacting with the floor. Sometimes I think our attention really stays kind of up toward the center of the body in poses or away from the ground, the kind of bigger, flashier things that are happening. And so much is created in the hands, the feet, the shins, what we're doing to interact with the ground. Let's take one more round of breath here, and then I'm going to give you a chance and an opportunity to add on to this. So you can stay here just as you are. If you want to take it up a notch this morning and start to build a little strength here as well, we're going to tuck your toes under. Keep the shape of table as you float your knees an inch off the ground. And then you're going to take this floating cat-cow for a couple rounds. So it's the same movement of cat-cow, but the knees are off the ground. And you're going to do your best to sort of keep the knees equidistant from the ground throughout that range of movement. Saying good morning to your hips, your low core, also the strength of your arms. Last breath here, knees up or down, your choice. And as you inhale this next time, let that spine get long, let those knees come back down. Table pose without the work. Go ahead and untuck your toes. Let's roll up onto the tippies of your fingers, the fingertips for a moment. Really dome the palms. And then re-flatten those hands. And let's take your right leg, stretch it back with the toes on the ground. So let's start here with a little calf release. So press back through that right heel until you feel a sense of release through the right calf. And then if your weight shifted way back, let's shift a little forward so those shoulders are directly over your wrists once again. Let's go ahead and slouch, just like we did seated. Just let everything sink with gravity into your shoulders. Ugh. And then let's push the ground away. Feel the slightest suggestion of cat throughout the spine, between the shoulder blades, in the low back. Option 1, stay here, really pressing back through that right heel. Option 2, tuck those left toes under, float the left knee an inch. So you've got half floating table, half plank. Nothing like a little core work on your Saturday morning. You're welcome. And then let that left knee come on down and your right knee, and let's switch sides. So left leg stretches back. So we'll start nice and kind and easy, little calf stretch. And then shift the weight forward so the shoulders are directly over the wrists. Go ahead and do what you don't want to do here for a moment. Just get slouchy and sinky. And then press down. Feel that breath across the upper back, across the low back as you kind of create that little suggestion of cat. Keep your back legs super powerful. Stay here, or tuck your right toes under, float that right knee an inch. So all of these sort of in-between shapes between table and plank are helping to build strength for plank, build strength for your core or along the core to support your spine for a really healthy low back. Also just starting to wake up the various parts of our body. All right, right knee down, left knee down. Inhale, cow pose. We're going to round into cat one more time. Dome up onto those fingertips. A little release for the wrist. Let your head fall. And then inhale, table, flat palms. Let's tuck the toes under, hips up and back, downward facing dog. As you find your downward facing dog, we're just going to pedal the legs here a little bit like you're walking in place. And instead of just sort of haphazardly doing that, as you bend one knee, I want you to really drive the opposite heel toward the ground. So as you bend that right knee, left heel really lengthens toward the ground and then switch. Couple times there, side to side. Anytime we're in down dog today, if it's just not feeling good, table is a fantastic replacement option. Cat cow is great. Child's pose is great. The next time you straighten that left leg and take your left heel toward the ground, if it works in your body, let's reach that right leg any amount up and back. And then doesn't need to be graceful, just any way that works. Right foot forward between your hand. And we're going to ground your back knee. Now, as that knee comes down, you can always pad if you feel like you need a little extra padding for that back knee. We're actually just going to do what we don't normally want to do, but we're going to keep hands down, so it's okay, all right? You're going to keep your right heel rooted, and we're going to let your right knee come forward of the ankle. So we're elongating, again, the calf muscle and the back of your low leg there. If the heel comes off the ground, then the calf muscle is shortening and engaged again. So you need to keep that back heel down, or at least the heel of your front foot down, or at least reaching toward the ground. Let's take one more breath there. And then gently kind of slide back, let the knee come back over the ankle. And let's tuck the back toes under, lift that back knee off the ground. Left hand's going to stay down, right hand up to the sky. Draw your two shoulders down the back. If it helps to put a little bend in your elbows, especially that top one, to kind of explore the mobility of the shoulders and the shoulder blades this morning, maybe you do that. And then let the right hand come back down. And any way that works for you, let's step it back into your downward facing dog. Maybe a little pedal of the feet again. Maybe you just find a couple breaths of stillness. Let's start to really intentionally lengthen that right heel toward the ground. We'll take your left leg back up toward the sky. And any way that works, foot forward between your hands. All right, so we'll get into that calf to begin with. Right knee down. Start to walk the body forward so that that knee comes forward of your left ankle, left heel rooting down. The hands are helping to hold some of the weight here, because ideally when we're doing our lunges, the knee is not coming past the ankle. That's how we really protect the knee. But here, because we're not weight bearing the entire body, we can allow this to happen. How about 2 more breaths here? And then we'll slide it back so that you feel that stacking of knee over ankle. Tuck your back toes under, press back through that back heel as you lift the back knee, right hand down, left hand to the sky. Now, as we do this, most of us really like, because our neck and shoulders are our tension spot, like to let those shoulders come up, drag them down the back. And again, if it helps to bend the elbows a bit and see what's possible, there you go. All right, left hand down. Take it back, down dog. From your down dog, you can stay for a few breaths or inhale. Let's come forward to plank. Take a full breath here. Feel the heels press back, the crown of the head lengthen forward. And then let's press forward on your toes. Let the knees come down behind the hips. Elbows point straight back as you lower down to the belly. Your first Chaturanga of the morning. Untuck the toes there on the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. Just let those shoulders slide down and back. Feel the neck emerging out of the shoulders through the crown of the head. And then exhale, forehead toward the ground. Press into hands and knees, come back up, and downward facing dog. Left heel descends, right leg lifts. Any way that works for you, right foot forward between your hands. We're going to keep that back knee lifted this time, really pressing back through that left heel, and let's come on up into your crescent lunge. Take a moment to let the feet and the legs get underneath you. Hands can stay lifted, or if you'd rather, bring them into your heart because your shoulders are a little fatigued or just grumpy this morning, hands at heart is also good. And then we're going to start to exhale, bend that back knee. Sometimes we do little isolated bends and straightens. This is an actual lowering of any amount to the ground. Maybe you tap it. Whew. And then inhale, straighten the back leg. You've got 4 more of those. Exhale, bend. You're in control of how deep it goes and therefore how much challenge there is. Inhale, straighten. 3 more. Last one. All right, now as that leg straightens, let's take hands up if they're at heart. We're going to shift into that right foot, bring your left leg forward, chair pose. And then exhale, step that left leg back. Hands are going to reach back, heart forward. We're going to go back and forth there a couple times. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale into that lunge, hands reaching back. How about 2 more? Try to keep the bend in that front leg steady so that you're not kind of lifting in and out of it. 1 more here. As you step back that next time, hands to the sky, maybe you look up. Hands come down around your front foot. And back you go, downward facing dog. Let both heels descend toward the ground. It does not matter if they touch the ground, but feel like the legs and the back of the legs is getting an inch or 2 longer. Inhale if you'd like, come forward to plank. Full breath here. Maybe you rock a little forward and back on the toes. We're going to take that Chaturanga lower to the belly. Use the knees if you'd like. Keep them lifted if you'd prefer. Inhale into your cobra of any height that you feel ready for this morning. Back to the belly as you exhale. And let's rise on up through table or plank. And downward facing dog. Full complete breath in. Long complete breath out. Feel the hands, feel the feet. Feel their interaction with the ground. Left leg lifts when you're ready. And foot forward between the hands as you breathe out. We'll come on up into that crescent lunge. Maybe give your left leg some love on the way because it's about to do some work for you. Remember, you can have your hands up or they can come to heart. And let's exhale, bend that right knee, any amount down toward the ground. Some of you it'll tap, but don't force it to go there. Inhale, straighten the back leg. 4 more. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. At your pace. The next time that back leg straightens, hands to the sky if they're not already there. We're going to sneak into that left foot, bring your right foot forward for chair. And then exhale, step back with that right leg. Hands reach back, heart goes forward. Let's go a couple more times there. Inhale, step forward. Now working on hip stability. So just try to stabilize that left knee as much as possible. It's going to wobble, but try to minimize the wobbles. Let's go 2 more. And then this time, let's step forward to chair one more time. Let those hips drop, hands to the sky. And then exhale, fold over your legs. Let the belly find the thighs, let the head fall, let the arms fall. Root down into those heels and maybe start to straighten your legs any amount. Big full inhale here. Maybe a dramatic open mouth exhale. Let everything that you're carrying go. And then bend your knees quite a bit. Let the head and the arms dangle, and let's roll up inch by inch by inch. All the way up to standing. 2 hands go up to the sky. Let the palms join together overhead. And exhale, hands down into your heart. Let the eyes close or the gaze drop for a couple breaths. Our first moment of standing in our practice this morning. Feel that duality of movement and energy in your body, the rooting down, the connection of your feet to the ground. But that lift as well, up through the legs, up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. Inhale, hands go upward. Folding at your hips, exhale, let's fold over the legs. Hands come down through center. Let the fingertips find the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, reach up, rooting down into your feet, taking your hands skyward. And exhale, hands down into your heart. One more time, just like that. Easy, fluid movement and breath. Hands go up. Exhale, fold. You can put as much bend to your knees here as you need for the low back to feel free and happy. Halfway lift, inhale, fingers on shins. Exhale, fold. Rise up, reach up, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. As those hands settle at your heart, let's shift into your right foot. Start to bring your left knee up toward the chest. Just pause. Feel the wobbles. Feel the stabilization work necessary in your foot and your ankle, around the hip. And let's just take your left leg out towards straight, but I don't want it very high. So just kind of a straighten of that leg straight out toward the floor in front of you, a couple inches off the ground. And let's start to roll that ankle a little bit. So just create some circles, which is going to throw off your balance. It's kind of the point. You can write your name with your foot. That's a classic exercise of ankle mobility. Like sparklers. And then let's start to take that left leg all the way back behind you. Put a soft bend into that right knee, step back into your lunge. And as you land, we're going to spin that left ankle heel in, toes out, letting your body settle into warrior one. So the back heel's on the ground, but your hips are facing toward the front of your mat. We're going to take your hands onto your hips, elbows bent. Let's hug your elbows straight back like a little thigh master for your arms. Heart high, that same heart puff, shoulders back. Let's Stay here if you'd like, or begin to tip and hinge forward so that your torso lays over your front thigh. Not on the front thigh, just over the front thigh. Firm that outer right hip in. Feel your back heel lengthen all the way down into the ground, right? So even here, continuing a little bit of that calf lengthening we're building. You've got 3 final breaths here. You can stay where you're at, or you can begin to glide forward and up into your warrior 3. Try to keep those elbows hugging toward one another. Really active upper back to create space for your chest, your shoulders. And then we'll put a bend in that front knee again. Step all the way back to your lunge. Heel can be off the ground now. And let your hands come down around your front foot. Let your back knee come on down to the ground, but keep the toes tucked. So some of you, if you feel like it's really hard for your hands to reach the ground here and you don't have blocks, if this is comfortable, I want you just to stay. If it'd be better, you could bring hands on your front thigh. Those of you that have a comfortable connection of hands to ground, we're going to move through 2 shapes called cat-cow lunge here. So we're going to straighten both of your legs any amount, might not be all the way, but head that direction. Push the ground away, let your spine round, let your head fall forward. And then as you inhale, you'll bend both knees, let your heart lift and your head lift, move your shoulders back. Okay, so let's go through those just a couple more times. Exhale, legs straighten, you fold. If you'd rather just stay in kind of the cow lunge setup with back knee down, stay there for a couple breaths and let the front of that left thigh really soften. Wherever you're at, 2 more breaths. Exhaling into that cat lunge if you're moving. Inhaling into your cow lunge. Last one. And then from wherever you're at, however it works for you, we're going to step your left foot forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Staying for a full inhale here, breathing all the way down into your feet. And as you exhale, feeling as though your nose is actually on the top of your head, just exhaling all the way up through the crown of your head. When you're ready, let's shift into your left foot for balance. Start to bring that right knee up toward your chest. A few moments here to connect, to check in and connect, apparently otherwise known as connect. with your breath, and also all of the little wobbles and stabilizing actions happening in that left leg to hold you up. And then let's take that right leg out towards straight. And again, low is good here. It doesn't need to be a lot of work and really high, because we're just going to get into the ankle mobility a little bit. A few circles one direction and then the other direction. Again, you could write your name with your foot, or secret messages of love and gratitude for chair pose. And then we're going to take that right leg back behind you, bend your left knee, bring it all the way into that warrior 1. So the back heel comes down. You've got the toes slightly turned out in that back foot. Lunge into that front knee. And just feel here that ability to stamp your heel, both the inner heel and the outer heel, down into the mat, especially of that back foot. You can do it in both feet, but that back one is really our focus right now. Hands on hips, elbows bent, hug those elbows back. Stay here, begin to lean forward. As you lean forward, continue to feel that lengthening through the entire back side of that right leg, all the way down into the inner and outer heel. Stay here or begin to float up onto that left leg. Right leg flies. And a lot of us, when we take that leg off the ground, it just kind of becomes like a limp, heavy fish back there. I want you to lengthen out through that right heel, like you're still kicking something away. Active, active leg. Give those elbows a little hug toward each other. One more breath here. And then we'll bend that front knee, step it all the way back. Back heel stays off the ground this time. We'll bring your hands down around that front foot. Slowly let that back knee come on down to the ground. If you'd prefer not to move back and forth here between the cat-cow lunge, stay with hands on ground or blocks or thigh, and just melt the heart forward, shoulders back. Or exhale, straighten both legs and fold. Inhale, bend both knees, lift the heart, lift the head. You've got 3 more rounds of breath wherever you're at. As you bend your front knee this next time, let's step forward, feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Stepping into that right foot. Left knee comes up. Option to stay here. Let the breath and your ability to focus on what's supporting you be priority. Option 2, to take those 2 focuses and move your left foot in toward the back side, reaching back with your left hand, maybe grabbing onto foot or pants. This is option 2. Feel the breath. Feel what's stabilizing you. Option 3, if you'd like to press into dancer pose, left hand pushing into, or left foot pushing into the hand, right hand maybe reaching up and forward. Maybe you dance a little bit. Wherever you're at, 2 final breaths. And then we're going to release that back foot all the way back behind you one more time. Back heel to the ground, toes spin out. Let's straighten your front leg. Really root into that back foot. Start to lean forward. Take your hands, reach them forward. You're in control of how low this goes. I want you to keep the weight moving into that back foot as those hands reach forward. And then bend your front knee, come on up. And let's open into warrior 2. So your shoulders open toward the long edge of the mat. Knees still pointing straight forward on that front leg. Inhale, let's reverse. Left hand down the back leg, right hand to the sky. We're going to keep the reverse shape in the upper body. Inhale, root into your right big toe, straighten the right leg. And then exhale, bend the right knee. How about 2 more times there? Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Let's take your 2 hands around your front foot. Go ahead and let that back heel lift for a moment. We're going to wiggle your right foot out to the right. Let your right hand come inside the right foot. And then if it works for you to put that back heel down again, let that back heel come down. Toes are spun out. Our hands are going to start to walk any amount toward that left corner of the mat. And while it's going to be really tempting just to let the right hip go way rightward, I want you to try to keep hugging it in and back and let your head fall between your arms. If this doesn't work in your body, keep your hands just directly below your shoulders. Keep lengthening back into that back foot. Keep stamping the ground with the inner and outer heel. And then hands come back around that right foot. Back heel lifts. Back you go, downward facing dog. Now you have the option to stay here. You also could drop the knees, press back into child's pose for a few breaths. Those of you that want to keep moving, inhale, plank. Knees up or down, Chaturanga. Inhale, back bend of your choosing. Back to the belly, slow and steady. Up and back into your downward facing dog. Let's take about 5 breaths of stillness, whether it's your child's pose, your down dog. We are heading back to the top of the mat eventually, so you could also come into your forward fold for a few breaths. Just to connect before we take that final round of standing postures. Again, feeling the breath and feeling what supports you here. When you're ready to move to the top of the mat, if you haven't already, inhale, bend the knees, lift the heels, look forward, and exhale, walk, step, or hop. Top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Rise up, reach up, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Full breath in. Full breath out all the way up through the crown of your head. Wait until that left foot, right knee comes up. Remember that your focus, your priorities are not these shapes. The shapes are just vessels in which to practice your breath, your grounding, your connection with what supports you. Maybe you do that here. Maybe you do that with your right foot pulled in toward the back side, grab of the right hand or no grab. Maybe you do that in your dancer pose, right foot back, left hand forward and up. Wherever you're at, about 3 more steady breaths. If you step out, just take a breath, come back in. Let's begin to release that right foot all the way back behind you. Again, we'll let that back heel come to the ground, the toes angle out. Root into your left big toe, straighten that front leg. Feel the power all the way up the back leg, driven from the heel, rooting into the ground. Let your hands reach any amount forward as you lean and tip. More is not always more. And then we'll bend the front knee, come on up, and open into warrior 2. Make sure the front toes and knees are pointing forward. And then right hand down the back leg, left hand up and back, reverse. We'll stay here as you inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Last time. Two hands down around your front foot, back heel lifts. Wiggle that left foot to the left edge. Left hand comes inside the foot. Back heel comes to the ground, toes angle out, if that works for you. Now you could stay here, maybe taking your hands, walking them 6 or 9 inches toward the right. Give a firm hug of that left outer hip in and back. Maybe you start to walk the hands forward on the diagonal there. One final breath here. And then we'll walk your hands back, forward. Going to keep that left foot outside your left hand. Go ahead and let the toes spin out, the heel spins in. Let's take a little Swivel's not the right word, sway forward and back. Build some momentum here. When you're ready, that right foot is stepping outside your right hand. One big step or a bunch of little ones. Toes out, heels in. Let's start to bend the knees any amount toward your squat. You can stop at football coach, or you can go all the way down. If you go down, hands to heart. Good news, you're rooting into your feet and you're slowly coming all the way up to standing. Yay, what goes up must come down, slow and steady. Bend your knees any amount. You're in control of the depth there. Keep rooting and lengthening down through your heels. Keep those calves elongated. What goes down must go up. Slow and steady. Feel that outer butt engage at the very top. And then one more time, come on down. If it's doable in your body today, we're going to settle into either your football coach or your squat for a couple breaths. We are headed to the ground next. So if you're like, I'm good, just sit on down, we'll meet you there. As you settle here for a couple breaths, can you feel, again, one more time, the back of the low leg, the heel, and the inner and outer heel? Right? Almost like if you had stakes or little snowshoes on your feet, and there were little stakes going into the ground on the inner and outer heel, you could actually kind of root down into the ground there. You could drill down, burrow down into the ground. Final full breath in. And then with a plop or without, down you go. As you come down, we're going to keep your knees bent, feet on the ground, about as wide as your hips. Hands are going to come behind you. Fingers are either going to, more coffee, are either going to point toward your backside, or they're going to angle out just a bit. What's most important to me here is that you can get that heart puff we started class with. Heart high, shoulders broad. This is the priority here. Some of you are going to choose to do that work just here with hips on the ground. Great place to spend this time, because almost all of us can use more of this work because we tend to live in kind of this place. I exaggerate, sort of. So stay here if you want, or begin to press down into your feet, lift your hips, reverse table. But the priority here is not actually the height of the hips, it's can you keep that heart puff, heart high, shoulders back. And then let it come on down. Make sure you're happy with where your hands are. We're going to do that one more time. Maybe you try a slightly different rotation of the hands. Heart puff. Stay here or lift. 2 full breaths here this time. And down you go. As you land, go ahead and bring those hands forward to shins or thighs. Give your legs a hug. Let's round back as you breathe out. Let the head fall forward. With the hands clasped in front of the legs or behind them, I feel like I get a little bit of WD-40 for my shoulder blades. Feels like they can spread apart more than maybe normal. And then let's come up, belly toward thighs, heart high, head high. About one more time. Exhale, round back. And heart up and forward. And then let's bring soles of the feet together, knees open. And let's start with your hands not behind you where you can slouch into them, but directly out to the sides, up on those little fingertips. Let the pinky edges of your feet really root into the ground. See if you can press your big toes and your little toes together. Let the hips be really heavy. How can you tell that it's back on the ground again? He just somehow knows. As the hips get heavy, let the crown of the head lift. Stay here if this is nice. Or take the space, right? Try not to lose the space you've built in the upper chest and back and just plop, but take this space and start to lengthen forward. Hands can stay kind of where they were behind you if that helps you to keep that space, or at some point they can relocate forward. Maybe you give your cat a little love. Let's go ahead and walk your hands back in. We're going to keep your right leg where it's at. Let your left leg straighten out on the diagonal at about 45. That right foot can sneak into the inner left thigh. Let's take your left hand, walk it down the left shin. Right hand reaches up on the diagonal toward the corner of your space. And then let's put a soft bend into that left elbow. We didn't do a ton of movement in this direction, so don't feel like this one needs to go really, really deep today. Let's start by bending that right elbow into your waist, your right waist. Let that right hip get nice and heavy. Stay here, or for the last couple of breaths, take that right arm, elongate it alongside the right ear, reaching up and over toward your left foot. And then up you go. We'll just go ahead and switch sides. Right leg out. Boop. Left leg in. Boop. Right hand alongside the right shin. Left hand up. Diagonally there. Feel that left hip get heavy. Maybe you put a little bend into that right elbow. It could lay on the shin or it could just bend toward it. And then let's also bend that left elbow in toward the waist, the left waist. Stay here for the last couple breaths, or elongate that left arm alongside the left ear toward your right foot. Up you go. Nice and slow. Left leg is going out on that diagonal to straight as well. So you're in that wide V, toes up, lengthen out through your heels. Right, one more time, feeling that length through the back of the low legs. Stay here with the hands slightly behind you. Or last few breaths before we come down to the back. Start to lengthen forward. Ease your hands in toward the body. Take your hands underneath your knees. Help bend one knee. Don't make the leg do that work. Help your other leg bend. Glue your feet to the ground, knees bent. Make sure you have space to lay down behind you. Reach towards your feet as you begin to slowly, slowly, slowly lower yourself down. onto your back. We're going to bring those knees all the way into your chest as you come down. Feel the spine and the back, the head, the shoulders all resting, releasing into the ground. Let's move both hands onto that right leg. Let your left leg release out long. Right arm out to the right, and we'll use your left hand to guide that right leg across the body into your twist. Breathing all the way down into your left foot. And breathing all the way up through the crown of your head. We'll come back to center, bringing that right leg over the chest. Let your left leg come back in to meet it. And let's switch both hands onto your left leg. Right leg releases to the ground. Left arm out to the left. Right hand guides the left leg into the twist. We'll ease it back to center. One more time, right knee in. Give both legs a hug if you're like, ooh, I really want a happy baby. There you go. Sometimes it feels nice to end with a legs to the sky, maybe arms to the sky, like a fainty goat, or I think it's more traditionally called dead bug. Any other shape or movement that you want, take some time for it. And when you're ready, let's release one limb at a time down onto the ground into that just fully released, fully open shape. I like to think of it like a king-size bed to yourself. If your body and your mind today release and relax better in a seat or on your side or on your belly, just feel free to go to any shape that sets you up for a few moments of stillness here. And as you begin to take rest, today I really want you to tap into what is beneath you. Feel your connection with the ground. Even if to get to the earth and the ground, there's a couple floors of your house or multiple surfaces. And notice where your body is continuing to want to hold itself. And see if you can begin to convince, nurture the body into a complete release into the support of the ground. And with that release, taking rest. The nice thing about these home practices, especially on a Saturday morning, is that you don't have to leave your Shavasana when everyone else does. So if as you check in with yourself here, you need a few more moments in this space, please, please give it to yourself. Take it. Those of you that are ready to begin deepening the breath, begin deepening the breath. As you feel ready to add movement back into your body, add movement back. And just when you're ready, no rush, ease yourself up to a comfortable seat. Letting the hands come together in front of your heart and taking a few moments there to start your day, to start your weekend, just like you start a practice. Feel your breath. Feel the moment. Maybe set an intention. And carrying all of this with you as you head off into all that comes next. Thank you all so much for practicing together today. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you for being here with me and Musketeer. He's hiding back here. Please let me know if you have any questions on what we did in class today. Hope you enjoyed your yoga and coffee. I know I did. I hope you have a lovely, lovely Saturday. Oh, yay. Hi, Ruth. So good to see you. Been enjoying following your house progress. So next weekend, our schedule's a little bit different because we have a big kind of one of our fan favorite classes on Saturday and the Cascade or the in Cascade Locks in the Columbia Gorge. So we're going to do our live stream on Sunday morning next weekend so that we can have one. So it'll be me next Sunday at 10 a.m. here with you. So just one day different. And then Saturday, September 5th will be Jamie, and then we'll just continue it into September and likely all through fall and winter. So thank you so much. If you'd like to make a contribution for class, the information for Venmo and PayPal is in the description of the video. And this is here now for you to practice with forever and always. Oh, hi, Shelly. Hi, David. Good to have you guys. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. Glad you guys liked it. I think that's all for today. I hope you enjoy the sunshine, and I will see you soon. Take care. Thanks, Mom. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Brooke. Bye, Kiwi.